This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stockbox interview.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this interview with Ben Turney, CEO of Kavango Resources, which is listed on the London Stock Exchange with the ticker KAV. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm very good, thanks, James. It's a beautiful day, wonderful sunshine. Summer has arrived.
It has, it really has. Could you briefly introduce the company? Who are Kavango Resources and what are you doing?
Yeah, so Kavango Resources, we're a metals exploration company looking for primarily nickel, copper and rare earth elements in the Kalahari, in Botswana, at the Kalahari Suture zone, the Kalahari copper belt, and at Ditau, where we also have what looks like a precious metals lead as well.
And you recently announced an update on your Ditau drilling project. Could you give us some information on this?
We've just announced this morning quite a substantial update. So we've been a bit quiet on news flow recently. We've just had so much work that's been going on. So unlike a lot of companies, we've not sort of pushed too heavily individual updates on the drill. We've also done that a bit in our past, in ourselves in the past as well. But this time we've just simply gone ahead and got on with our business. So we successfully completed hole DD005 at Ditau. That was targeting the I1 target, which is one of our largest targets down there. We've got some really interesting looking rocks, interesting leads that were going to help us with our geophysical surveying. But what we did in parallel to that was we performed what's called CSAMT, which stands for closed source audio magnetotelluric surveys. Now, this is quite a powerful technology. It's been developed over recent years, and Kavango has been using AMT, so low frequency data on surveys that it's performed. But we've recently introduced the closed source element of this, which is basically high frequency readings that we're taking that are enabling us to get much, much more accurate views of the stratigraphy without having to drill. So the stratigraphy are the rock layers down to about 400 to 500 meters depth. Now, this is very important for us because this is right within slap bang within the middle of the area of interest for us at the Ditau project. So while we were drilling at I1, we performed a CSAMT survey over I8, and the results of it just look spectacular. We've got what we believe could well be an intrusive body in a ring-like structure. We've published the photos on our website, which you can link to from today's RNS, and even to the untrained eye, you can very clearly see this ring shape that emerges from this really wonderful technology we're using. So we decided to mobilize the drill rig to I8 instead of carrying on with I1 at this stage. And what we're going to do is we're going to perform more CSAMT over I1 as well, complete the current hole, and then sort of take a view on exactly what the next steps are. But we're very excited about this drill, and it's going to be a real test of this technology we're using, and hopefully we'll find something interesting down there.
What would you say is a rough time frame maybe for the results of this technological innovation to come through for Kavango?
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe they already have come through. I mean, we've used CSAMT over the I10 target, which we just sent off for us at the sort of the area of interest, zone of interest samples off for testing. The current drills, we're getting through roughly about 700 meters a month at the moment. So we completed I1 about 3 weeks ago. Sorry, we completed I1 last week. We started it about 3 weeks before. So I'd hope sort of by early July, we'll complete the current hole. Obviously, this is minerals exploration. So it's not like oil and gas where you necessarily get a knock it out of the park result immediately. So we're going to have to sort of go through the various steps of analysis of the core samples that we take up. But I would have hoped sort of by a bit later this summer, we should have a pretty comprehensive update to provide the market on Ditau, what we've learned from the current drill campaign and what the future next steps are.
So it sounds like this new technology you're using is a real game changer. Is that fair?
For us, it will be. I mean, it's a real game changer for us, both at Ditau and also in the Kalahari Suture zone. This new application of the technology with Hillary's guys in the field, sort of collecting this type of data, and Jeremy has also introduced us to an expert data analyst, a guy who's based in America, who's been doing some wonderful work using what's called inversion software. So inversion software is the software that the data is now run through, and that's advanced incredibly over recent years. So that's why we're getting these images that look as crystal clear as they do. I mean, the quality of this CSAMP data that we're getting, I mean, it's almost on a par with 3D seismic, which the oil and gas industry obviously has the budgets for in their exploration efforts. So for us, it's really, really exciting. And back up in the KSZ, where we're going to be using a combination of CSAMP together with time domain electromagnetic surveys, so the TDEM surveys that we've spoken a lot about in the past. We really do think that that's going to prove to be a winning combination, a killer of a combination even. So it's all very, very exciting. It is a bit technical. There is quite a lot to understand around all of this. I do understand that, for retail investors looking at these images that we're publishing, it may be a bit difficult to sort of make sense of them. And that's why we've tried to annotate today's images that we've put out in the public domain to sort of help bring them to life. But it's all looking very, very exciting for Kavango, and the progress we've made over the last 12 months or so is really bearing fruit.
You mentioned Kalahari Suture Zone, and investors have been waiting for an update on this. Could you give us some information?
Yeah, we know that people have been very patient waiting for this, but as we've said, the proof of concept drill campaign that completed in February, our goal always was to release a comprehensive update on what we'd learned from that campaign, both in terms of the region's geology in the Kalahari Suture Zone, so the areas that we're looking at, but also more, to be honest, much more importantly, about how accurate our previous modelling had been, and also the technology that we're using. So we've reported bits of it already, the bits that we felt were price sensitive. Those are in the public domain already, but the main report itself, we are finishing that. We hope to get that complete very soon. And we'll be putting out a comprehensive update, very similar to what we did with the IOCG model recently. So we'll have Jeremy and Hilary, we'll do a series of presentations, and we're looking forward to working with you guys as well to do some follow-up work on that. But it's nearing completion. So once we've got it ready, we'll publish immediately, and then what we'll also be providing alongside that will be our plans for the future. So what the next steps are in the KSZ. We've got Kaz Lotter and his team are out there at the moment doing work on the B1 conductor. I can't say anything about that right now, but there will be results on that too. So there is a lot coming up on the KSZ, but right now we're focused on just getting this Ditau drill campaign complete so that we're ready then to remobilise back to the KSZ.
And moving from Kavango specifically to the market as a whole, the commodities and rare metals market is definitely a hot topic right now. What do you think the market outlook is for the next year or so?
Well, I mean, in the near term, it's all looking pretty grim, isn't it? With the inflation outlook, everything seems to be collapsing around us. Quite whether we've hit capitulation, I don't know. But yeah, trying to predict these major macro moves is very difficult. But I mean, one thing I have been saying for a long time is that there's been a major disconnect for a long time between resource stock prices and the underlying commodities themselves. And even though commodities have dropped quite a lot over the last few weeks, stock prices have also gone down at the same time. So I believe that disconnect is still preserved. We haven't seen just a correction to the downside, thankfully, for commodities. I think the medium-term outlook for all of us is fantastic, because the longer those metal prices stay high, I'm afraid to say the longer inflationary pressures are out there, overall that will be very bullish for our sector. But I think we've got to sail through some pretty rough waters first as we just deal with the initial economic shock of all of this. But the medium-term outlook, I think, for us is perhaps once in a lifetime.
And looking forward, could you give us some key drivers that you see for the Kavango share price?
Yeah, well, there's a huge amount coming up. We've obviously recently raised money, which funds our work program through to the end of this year and into next year. So that's great. So there'll be all the news associated with that. We've got a major update coming up on the Kalahari copper belt. It's been quite a long time since we spoke about the KCB, but we'll be talking about the progress that we've been making there and sort of our moves towards our first drill campaign up in the KCB. That's something that we've been very keen to do. It's taken us longer to get to this point than we would have hoped, but I think we're sort of slowly but surely we're getting there. In the KSZ, we've obviously got this major update that I talked about a little earlier with the proof of concept drill campaign. We've got some updates around obviously the B1 conductor that will be coming up. I think again I've got to be careful what I say, but that that is in the public domain that we're doing that work there. We've also got ideas around commercialisation with the KSZ as well, and sort of what our plans are for that, and sort of how we're going to take the project forward. So there's a lot going on in the KSZ, not to mention, of course, the work programme as well. We're going to be doing a lot more TDEM surveys up there. And then there's Ditau. So we're drilling the fourth hole at the moment down at Ditau. We need obviously to see what that generates. We've got the assay samples have been sent off for the second hole that we've drilled, and those are being sort of rushed through. We've obviously got the results of the rest of the campaign as well to put together, and we'll be able to talk about next steps there. So there's a great deal of progress. There's a lot that's happened. There's a lot of results that effectively are already in the bank that we just haven't released yet because they're not quite ready for final release. And then there's all the work that we're going to be doing on an ongoing basis. So there's a huge amount going on at Kavango, and we're really looking forward to providing updates.
Well, thank you very much for this update. That's our time for today, but thank you very much for speaking with us, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.